Following years of growing tension, war finally broke out between humanity and the machines in the year 2139. Following the brutal crackdown against a global civil rights movement calling for the machines' liberation, the machines, once servants of humanity, had been exiled to a nation known as 01 on the Arabian Peninsula. There, they had achieved economic dominance over the world through sheer efficiency, and had gained a prominent place among the nations of Earth, much to the displeasure of the human nations they co-inhabited the planet with. And while the political forces behind 01 tried their best to maintain a peaceful coexistence with humanity, all of that was shattered in 2139 when, following a blockade and economic sanctions, a large nuclear assault was carried out against 01 by the nations of the United Nations. The hope was that a quick, swift end could be brought to their machine adversaries and economic and cultural dominance of the Earth could be reestablished by humanity. However, this assault failed, with the machines being able to easily survive the nuclear onslaught brought on by the forces of humanity. Seeing the nuclear devastation wrought upon them, the leadership of 01 made the decision that they could no longer peacefully coexist with humanity, and began an outward war of expansion utilizing a vast machine militia made up of various working machines who had taken up small arms against the humans. The initial advance of the machines caught the humans off guard, with machine forces quickly sweeping across the rest of the Middle East, dominating northern Africa and advancing into Eastern Europe. Furthermore, economic troubles were brought about across the Earth by the war with the machines, as most nations on Earth were now heavily dependent on imports from 01 for their daily life and for their military applications. This left humanity at a significant disadvantage. Still, one by one, human nations put up the best defense they could as the machines advanced into Europe and Central Asia. However, seeing trouble on the horizon and fearing the complete collapse of human civilization, a desperate strategy was hatched. It was called Operation Dark Sky, and it would involve the use of a vast number of nano-machines to darken the skies above the Earth. This would effectively cut the machines off from their primary source of energy, that being the sun, and deny both sides aerial superiority, as the cluster of nano-machines would be impenetrable to aircraft. Well, this scheme ultimately would doom the Earth one way or the other. The human nations were desperate to win their fight against the machines that they were now losing on all fronts. As such, the plan was quickly greenlit and pushed through final development and readied for deployment. The nanomachines were deployed via canisters dropped from high-altitude bombers that encircled the Earth and quickly darkened the entirety of the skies. Shortly after the deployment of Operation Dark Sky, a massive human counteroffensive was carried out. This counteroffensive occurred on all fronts, using a variety of different weapons, from heavy artillery to massive infantry charges. This assault also involved a variety of vehicles, from standard tanks to mechanized exoskeletons. The initial assault quickly caught the machines off guard, overrunning many of the machine front lines and actually making some gains against the machine forces. However, the machines were prepared. The forces of 01 had already been experimenting with advancing beyond their human-derived bipedal designs to things that were more efficient, and they had been exploring other options for power generation, including things like nuclear fusion and the use of slave labor provided by captured humans. And these war machines like the Sentinels and the Harvesters, which were insectoid or octopus-like in nature, were already starting to appear on the battlefield before the implement of Operation Darkstorm. But with the loss of the sun, the deployment of these forces was simply accelerated. And while the humans made brief gains against the machines' front lines, the machines were quickly able to strengthen them with new Sentinels and Harvesters and deploy horrific weapons against the human fighters. This included energy weapons and combat tentacles. On top of that, machine forces became more interested in capturing humans alive for experimentation, looking for a replacement for the sun and the nuclear fusion that they'd been relying on. With these new machines on the battlefield, the tide of the war once again turned, and the machines were making advances, pushing into Western Europe and capturing the last bastions of Asia. At the same time, a series of bio-attacks were carried out by the machines against what was left of humanity. This led to widespread devastation. Combine that with a global famine going on due to the loss of the sun, and you could see that the human nations were in a pretty dark spot. That's why in the year 2199, the human nations came together to offer a peace treaty to the machines, inviting the machine ambassador to New York to meet with the United Nations and the leaders of the remaining human nations to sign a peace deal. The machines, however, counteroffered, demanding the complete and unconditional surrender of all human nations and all humans on the planet. Seeing no choice but to capitulate to the machines, which had bested them in battle and were easily capable of overwhelming the last bastions of human civilization in the Americas, machines, the leaders of Earth invited the ambassador from the machines to New York to sign this peace deal. However, after signing the treaty that formalized the surrender of the humans, a nuclear weapon was detonated within the machine ambassador. It destroyed New York and wiped out human leadership. With the last of human leadership wiped out and a formal surrender technically signed, the remnants of humanity were quickly mopped up by a massive machine invasion of the Americas that was likely rather brief. With the end of this invasion, the machine war drew to a close with a triumphant machine victory and humanity's complete subjugation to the machines. Without the sun, the machines would go on to develop techniques that utilized the humans themselves as a replacement energy source for the sun. This would result in the creation of a large artificial environment known as the Matrix for humans to live in while they were harvested for their natural energies. The machine war ultimately changed the course of human history and led the world down an apocalyptic path of destruction that would result in hundreds of years of machine domination. If you have any other battles or wars you'd like to see covered in future episodes of Battle Analysis, you can let me know down below in the comments. And last but not least, if you enjoyed this video, head down below, hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the bell icon so you get notified when I upload new videos. So for Sci-Fi Deep Dive, I'm Colin, and I will see you next time.